How is Puffy responsible for Tupac murder?
Not just grade carding, but the whole Los Angeles Police Department has been working nonstop to solve the mystery of Tupac and the notorious Big's death. The outcome of this never-ending inquiry has now cast further light on the entire case, and it is evident that the killer may have been right under their nose all along. Initially, LAPD detective had been investigating the killings of Tupac and Biggie for a long time, and in 2023, he finally shared some of his findings. These conclusions are out of the usual and have important ramifications.
Detective Greg Kading says he has proof it was Sean Diddy Combs who orchestrated the murder.
Beginning with his findings, LAPD Detective Greg Kading recently announced that he has decided that Tupac's murder was planned by Orlando Anderson, a member of the Compton Crips gang, with Anderson's uncle Kev D serving as the task force's star witness. Kading further claimed that Anderson was in the white Cadillac from which the shots were fired, and that Sean Diddy Combs paid Anderson's gang $500,000 to assassinate Tupac and another $500,000 to assassinate Suge Knight, although Anderson was never compensated for his alleged role in the murders. Kading, on the other hand, claimed that if Anderson's intent was simply to get away with it, he would not have provided all of the facts he did.
I'm going to disclose the facts as they are. I mean, whether they're dead or alive, I'm going to tell the same story because that's my job, is to get to the truth of the matter.
According to additional revelations by Greg Kading, Wardell Pucci-Faust, a member of the Mop Peru blood gang who was paid $13,000 by Suge Knight, the founder of Death Row Records, committed Biggie's murder. Kading refers to the mother of one of Suge's children as Teresa Swan in order to mask her identity and testify as a vital witness. Diddy has since denied any participation in Tupac's murder. Knight, who is currently incarcerated on a different murder charge, has refused to react to any media source and has stayed mum on Kading's study. Regrettably, Anderson and Pucci have both been killed since then for various reasons. As we all know, no one was arrested or charged as a consequence of the inquiry into either of the murders. But, according to Kading, this is because the department was more interested in exposing a conspiracy idea than in prosecuting any of those cases.
Unfortunately, it's an unprosecutable case for a variety of reasons.
In a federal wrongful death case, Biggie Small's mother claimed that the department attempted to conceal an officer's role in her son's murder. For those who are unaware of Greg Kading's logic for these allegations, here is the background of the multi-year inquiry. Kading was removed from the task force in 2009 during an internal affairs investigation into an unrelated matter before his team had finished preparing their cases. Despite being cleared of any misconduct, Kading left the agency soon after the task force was disbanded. Kading, on the other hand, disclosed their findings in Murder Rap, a self-published book published in 2011. Michael Dorsey's documentary, also named Murder Rap, was later released on iTunes on February 2, 2016. The question now is, what new material does the documentary Murder Rap provide that the book does not? A typographical error in the book's final pages was fixed in the documentary, which incorrectly described the automobile housing Biggie's gun as a black Impala. This oversight has been overlooked by the editors. The documentary team made the necessary changes because they knew Pucci owned a vehicle that matched that description, and sources stated that Knight gave him the automobile in exchange for 2 customized Chevrolets. Furthermore, they were aware that Suge's Impala was painted in a particular color, black cherry. As a result, investigators were able to trace the green Impala's sale to a Chevrolet dealership in Phoenix, Arizona. When they uncovered this information in 2009, however, the records were no longer available, preventing them from tracking the paper trail back to the car's initial order in 1995 or 1996. Anyway, it appears it is essentially Kev D's word against Diddy's about his alleged role in Tupac's murder, right? While Diddy has already stated his wish to kill Suge and Tupac in public, there is currently no way to confirm this accusation. Other accounts, however, support Kev D's comments to law enforcement officials, providing credibility to the case. Yet, despite reports to the contrary, there is no evidence linking Biggie to Tupac's murder. It is highly doubtful that he was aware of or consented to the killing. And while he may have learned of it after the event, no evidence proving his prior knowledge has been found by law enforcement officials. This brings us to our next set of questions. Suge Knight, who was in Tupac's car during the Las Vegas massacre and suffered a head injury, has indicated that he was the intended target. Yet, different accounts indicate that he only suffered minor injuries. What is the truth underlying these contradictions? Suge, it would be more honest to say you are twisting the truth rather than plain lying. While a bullet fragment or metal debris from a car can lodge at the base of the skull, this is not the same as being deliberately targeted by a gunshot. Suge undoubtedly suffered a back-of-the-head injury and sought medical assistance for the ailment. To avoid injury, doctors decided not to undergo invasive surgery to remove a piece of metal near the base of his skull. Whether a gunshot fragment or a shard of metal from the car could have caused the injuries, the precise reason will never be known.
However, after the assault, Tupac and Suge went to Mike Tyson's boxing match. was on their way back from this event that tragedy struck.
Nonetheless, almost everyone now believes Tupac's killer was the assassin, Orlando Anderson. Then why wasn't he found guilty and imprisoned or executed? While their suspects were located in distant Compton, the Las Vegas detectives, particularly Detective Carding, encountered considerable challenges in their investigation. The Compton Police Department, on the other hand, provided tremendous help, going above and above to aid the inquiry. It is true that shortly after Tupac's death, Las Vegas police performed search warrants and raids in Compton, gathering as much evidence as possible from the apartment where Orlando was eventually caught. Unfortunately, given the distance between the suspects and the inadequate evidence, the detectives were forced to depend mainly on circumstantial evidence. Because there were no witnesses who could positively identify him as the gunman, the investigators had to scrupulously adhere to the law. A video of him being assaulted by Tupac and his associates at the MGM Grand soon before Tupac was shot was the only piece of evidence linking him to the crime. While there was a plausible motivation, he was not present at the crime site. This makes proving his involvement in the shooting extremely difficult. To summarize everything we've spoken about thus far and where it leads us, a former Los Angeles Police Department officer claims that music mogul Sean Diddy Combs hired a Crips gang member for $1 million to carry out the assassination of Tupac Shakur and his manager, Marion Suge. Furthermore, Greg Carding led a special LAPD task force that investigated the deaths of Tupac Shakur and Biggie Smalls, aka the Notorious Big. Biggie Smalls was Diddy's close buddy, and it is thought that he was murdered in vengeance for Tupac Shakur's death. Tupac Shakur and the Notorious Big were both shot and killed, Tupac on September 13, 1996 in Las Vegas, and Biggie 6 months later, in March 1997, in Los Angeles. Tupac was slain in a hit and run. These assassinations were thought to be the violent culmination of the 1990s rivalry between artists and fans of the West Coast and East Coast hip-hop communities. The public has been captivated by the mystery surrounding the unsolved cases ever since. Meanwhile, Greg Carding, the leader of a special LAPD task force that investigated the cases for 3 years, believes that music mogul Sean Diddy Combs, formerly known as Puff Daddy, paid gang member Dwayne Keith Kef D. Davis to murder both Tupac and Suge Knight. According to Carding, Davis's nephew, Orlando Baby Lane Anderson, was the one who carried out the shooting, in which only Tupac suffered life-threatening injuries. According to Carding, Knight paid Blood's gang member Wardell Poochie Faust $13,000 to assassinate Smalls in order to exact his revenge. During the investigation, Carding claimed to have received a confession from Kef D on the events leading up to Shakur's death, using the threat of serious penalties for another offense to get the confession.
East Side Bloods like Ams, Lewis Sparks, and the Moss wasn't even.
Yet, as he has indicated, Carding's team eventually ended the inquiry into both fatalities after exonerating the department of any probable participation. According to Carding, the police opted not to pursue official charges because of Combs' famous position and the fact that 2 of the suspects died for unrelated reasons. Also, because of the 2 deceased suspects, the department did not want to press official charges. Carding also admitted that he was removed from the task force as a result of a separate internal affairs probe. Although he was subsequently cleared of any misconduct in the investigation, it harmed his reputation and earned him the moniker Road Cop.
There's other things contributing to that whole thing. Suge's his own worst enemy. He was...
The Los Angeles Police Department has likewise refused to comment on the case, despite several attempts by various media agencies. That's all for now. Remember to like and subscribe. Goodbye.